Cain and Abel, the questions Genesis doesn't answer. Opening hook. The first murder in human history. 2 brothers, 1 sacrifice, 1 act of jealousy. But what happened afterward may raise even more questions than the murder itself. If Adam and Eve were the first humans, who did Cain marry? Why did God reject Cain's offering? Why didn't God stop the murder? And after Cain killed his own brother, why did God protect him instead of ending his life? Today we aren't trying to tell you what to believe. We're exploring one of the Bible's most debated stories through the lens of critical thinking. Genesis introduces us to the first family. Adam and Eve have 2 sons. Cain becomes a farmer, Abel becomes a shepherd. Both bring offerings to God. But the Bible says, God looked with favor on Abel's offering, while Cain's offering was not accepted. Immediately, a difficult question appears. Why? The text never clearly explains. Was it the quality of the offering, Cain's attitude, his intentions, or something else entirely? Different religious traditions have offered different answers for thousands of years. God then warns Cain. Sin is described as something waiting at the door, urging him to master it. Yet Cain ignores the warning. He invites Abel into a field. And there, he kills his own brother. The first murder in the Bible is not committed by strangers. It happens within the first family. Then comes another famous moment. God asks, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain replies, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Was God asking because he didn't know? Or was he giving Cain an opportunity to confess? Many theologians believe the question wasn't about information, it was about accountability. God declares a punishment. The ground will no longer produce crops for Cain as before. He will become a restless wanderer. But then something unexpected happens. Cain fears someone will kill him. God places a mark on Cain and warns others not to harm him. And this raises one of the biggest questions in Genesis. If only Adam, Eve, Cain, and a few family members existed, who exactly was Cain afraid of? Who were these people that might seek revenge? Another mystery appears only a few verses later. Genesis says, Cain knew his wife. But where did she come from? The Bible never introduces her. One traditional explanation is that Cain married one of his sisters or another close relative descended from Adam and Eve. Genesis later mentions that Adam and Eve had other sons and daughters, though they are not all named. Others argue that Genesis does not intend to list every person alive, leading to different interpretations about the early population. The text itself doesn't settle the debate. Another question concerns God's response. Many people say God forgave Cain, but did he? The Bible clearly says Cain was punished. He lost his land. He became a wanderer. Yet God also protected him by placing a mark on him. Was this forgiveness, mercy, justice mixed with compassion, or simply part of God's plan? Readers have debated this for centuries. The story also raises a philosophical question. If God knew Cain was becoming angry, why allow the murder to happen? Why not stop it? This question reaches far beyond Cain and Abel. It becomes part of the larger problem of evil and free will. If humans are free to choose, does that freedom include the possibility of terrible actions? Many religious thinkers answer yes. Others continue to wrestle with the question. Perhaps the story isn't only about 2 brothers. Perhaps it's about every human being. Jealousy, pride, anger, responsibility, mercy, justice. These themes remain just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Whether you see Cain and Abel as literal history, sacred symbolism, or something else, one thing is certain. Their story continues to generate questions that have never stopped being asked. Maybe that's why it has survived for so long. Not because it answers every question, but because it challenges every generation to ask new ones. So let me ask you, why do you think God accepted Abel's offering but not Cain's? Who do you think Cain married? And what do you think the mark of Cain really meant? Share your perspective in the comments and let's keep the discussion respectful.